So hi everyone, my name is Tu Pham. So I was in the panel, the first panel today, and yeah, very happy to speak again today. So today I'm going to share with you about the story of us, of how AI has become one of our most profitable move in recent years. Okay, so disclaimer a bit, right? So we would share a bit of our story. It might be biased because we come from a very specific, a very particular segment of education. But I would try to link it to maybe a broader picture of education, and maybe you see yourself in some of it. So, okay, so let's go. So what are we? So what is Prep? Prep is a company that builds AI for language learning and assessment. So that's what we are doing. We started in 2020 and now incorporate in 2021. So let's say legally we are 4 years old. Before founding Prep, I used to be a teacher and founded an offline educational chain of centers. Right. So I came from offline background and then moved to online. So yeah, and this is the story, right? So our tools these days encompass two different use cases, one by students and one by teachers. For students, we built a tool that's called a virtual room where students can take like test simulations. They can, well, let's say if you want to take let's say a TOEIC test, speaking, writing, etc., they can take it there for 100 times a week. Every time they take, they get scores and feedback, right? Later on, we built role-playing virtual room. So same concept, right? But then for more diversified use cases, for example, in the business settings. Later on, we built a learning assistant. So that one, we were inspired by Kan Migo's idea of the making an AI that's so instructional, giving like scaffolding instead of like straight answers to students' queries. So that would be the three tools that we have built for students. For teachers, we have built two things. So number one would be marking assistant. So marking assistant could like help teachers grade all the essays, all the audio recordings, and everything that has to be graded, right? It could be fully automated. Like you throw 1,000 essays to the system, and it's going to do it in the blink of an eye, right? A couple of minutes, it's done, right? So, and the other way would be semi-automatic, where the teachers would have a chance to review before sending the final piece to the students, right? So that's one. And then we build a learning content generator because we understand that writing test items is very stressful. It takes a lot of time and money. So these are basically everything we have been working on for the last 4 or 5 years. Okay, but where did we start before that, right? So we saw a lot of problems right. So we founded, the company was founded in Vietnam. That was 5 years ago, right? At that time, we saw a lot of problems. The first problem would be unequal access to education in different cities and towns. So Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, right? Pretty good cities, good teachers, but outside of that, really bad access to education. I give you an example. There was a school that teaches that educates all the English teachers for the whole like north of Vietnam, and they have like 300 graduates per year. And those 300 graduates would have to teach, they would go to universities, they would go to high schools, to like private tuition centers, etc. But 300 per year is not enough. Like the population of North Vietnam is about like 40, 50 million, right? So that's huge. And we don't have enough teachers, and teachers all want to stay in the big cities, right? They don't want to move to the countryside or the remote areas. So that's one very big problem. And education is expensive. Quality of the education is even more expensive, right? Okay, now comes the second problem. The second problem, I already shared in the morning. We call it a 1-minute problem, where even in the most expensive classrooms, where students attend, they would have very little time of real interaction with the teacher and get the teacher to give them feedback on their speaking or writing, right? In my area, language learning and language assessment, if you don't like really speak, you don't have airtime, you cannot improve, right? And I think like in this part of the world, Singapore's maybe your English is perfect already, but outside of here, we have Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, there's Taiwan, there's Korea, Japan. They teach perfect grammar, but the chance that the students can train the spoken and written English is very limited. I'm talking about like the mass, not not the best schools. Talking about the mass here. Right. So, yep, we are basically trying to solve this. So this is basically the story. We started in 2020, exactly when COVID hit us. We thought, okay, let's do something nice, right? 1 year after that, we made an early investment into AI, made a lot of failures. We built, at that time, not LLMs, but the earlier, NLP models, natural language processing, deep learning models that could basically give scores and feedback to the students with limited accuracy at that time, but that also helped us improve. I can share that story later. So in 2020, we launched the first virtual room, and that was a massive hit in the market because it helped us triple the number of customers in just 3 months' time. Right. And now we are basically doubling down in R&D to make like even stronger and more accurate AI scoring, assessment, and evaluation. So you can see it here. So the virtual speaking room was launched in the second quarter of 2020. 3 months after that, number of customers tripled, right? And it just helped us keep growing until today. Today we have about 100,000 paying customers. This one is B2C, right? We also have a B2B arm that's growing very fast, right? So, okay, so financial impact. This one is very, it's very important, right? Because I know a lot of you here are care about financials. So we started from 2021 with 0% of AI related revenue, but now like 89% of our revenue comes from AI related products. So yep, and we actually saved millions of dollars because so it's actually very simple math here, right? So for every essay we score for the students. Back then we had to send to human teachers who would charge us $5 per piece. Yeah. Now, like, if you count like hundreds of thousands of essays and audio recordings, yeah, we have actually saved millions of dollars here. Right. So, let's talk a bit about social impacts. I think just because we are cheap, I mean, not like, yeah, or budget friendly, which is a better word, right? We could actually reach customers in the remote areas. And now, in Vietnam, right, we have 60% of the users outside of the big cities, right? And also using this, we expanded to other countries. So Thailand, Taiwan, Indonesia, and so in these countries, we also see the same story of not only students, for example, in Thailand, not only those in Bangkok, but also who in the suburb, in the countryside could also study with us. So 70% of our users improve their scores very fast. I would say this one is a little bit also biased because most of them would be at the pre-intermediate level. And at that level, they improve faster. But if they're already advanced, it's very hard to improve scores further. Okay, so I think building AI is a very nice thing. Starting from 2022, we have just 16,000 customers, but now we have 93,000. And when we have more learners, that means we have more data. More data, we use data to build better AI models that could help us create better learning experience. Let's take a look at this. Like 3 years ago, our accuracy in scoring was just 70%, but now it has increased to over 90%, which is, not to the high-stake exam level of accuracy, but that's entirely enough for everyday practice. And that's why a lot of students loved us. And in fact, our customer retention has increased into more than triple to 69%. Along the way, there were a lot of failures that we faced. We were too ambitious. We did not have enough data and talents, and we did not have good teamwork in the early days. So some of our early projects in AI ended up in complete failures. But I think we just basically sit with each other and walk through that darker path. And yeah, and when we found we don't need to find everything that works, we just need to find one thing that works, and then we build up everything upon that. So yeah, that's the story. As for organization, right? We also try to use our technology for different B2B clients, some of whom we expect to give them a big boost in revenue, which also not always a success, right? But we basically we became more realistic. We helped them focus on one small area. For example, helping them save 5% of the cost for scoring, for example, and that also give them a boost in EBITDA in the end. So yep, that would be everything. So just be realistic when you develop AI tools or work with AI related tools or companies. And that's our story. Thanks for listening. Okay. All right.
Yes, we have a second AI showcase by VTF.
So checking. Hi there. Very good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's not too tired yet as the second last speaker of the day. So I'm Jason Low from Virtual Tech Frontier. Flew all the way from Malaysia. So we run an immersive technology company. So today I'll touch a little bit on immersive intelligence, on how we're using AI-powered XR, which stands for extended reality, for future-ready learning. So thanks again for Sean and Kaizen Best for inviting me over. And Sean, when he looked through our works, he said, hey, some interesting things you guys are actually using AI for, not the traditional platforms or dashboards and things aside. So hopefully some of you guys can learn a thing or two from what we've been doing back in Malaysia and also all around the region. So I think today everyone has been talking about really big shifts in education, right? Where for decades, education has really depended on a lot of static content and a lot of passive interactions or instructions, which is what our company intends to try and innovate on. So today we're witnessing a shift towards, very immersive or AI-driven learning experiences that engage the senses and adapt to each learner, and hopefully to prepare them better for the real world. So this isn't just an evolution per se, but it's a transformation in how we learn, where we learn, and also what we can actually achieve. So just some samples of what I think all of us know already what traditional learning means is, a lot of very lecture-based presentations, a lot of uniformity when it comes to content delivery, and all this leads to a lot of very low engagement. Even with AI over the dashboards, when it comes to words and screens, that's just as much engagement as you get with just clicking on a laptop per se. So a lot of these classroom-bounded interactions is what we usually will think of how to make, how do you educate and actually innovate better. So some of the immersive AI-powered learnings that we're doing is very experiential. It has a lot of hand-on environments, albeit it being a little bit more virtual. It has a lot of AI personal profiles and adaptive pacings, high interactivity and such. And these will be some of the things that we will actually showcase when we, execute and launch some of these projects in our client portfolio. So, but first to understand a little bit more on immersive learning, the whole purpose of making things more engaging is, number one, to actually really deepen the whole engagement process where learners immerse in spatial environments to experiment hands-on, thus boosting retention and also motivation for learning. This then leads to a lot of experimentations that we'll do with a lot of supplementations from AI right now and also XR in their learning stage. And also lastly, this will hopefully really enhance understanding towards the topics they are learning towards. So, and because, education symposium, there are definitely countless researchers all over the world that has been done that have showcased really great results when it comes to engagement increase and also statistics and data when it comes to assistance of using immersive technology in their day-to-day lives. So one of the projects that we have recently completed, we call it the Chemverse Academy, which is a chemical virtual simulation laboratory with Xiamen University back in Malaysia under the KIES R&D grant, which is one of the leading grants provided by the Malaysian government institution. So this is a virtual reality-based education platform that transforms laboratory learning through immersive, safe, and also repeatable virtual experiments. So we use virtual simulation platforms via the MetaQuest ecosystem. And what I think really went well was the government support and also a lot of the institutions that supported this initiative through immersive tech adoption, which is still very rare and limited back in Malaysia. It also enables virtual experiments beyond real-world resource limits, like you have one lab and you have 100 students. How is 100 students actually going through all these experiments at one go, right? And this then uses real experiential experimental data for accuracy and credibility purposes, where it's not just for fun. A lot of simulations, you just use it for fun, but we actually work with the lecturers back in Xiamen to actually collect a lot of this kind of data to really showcase the simulations that we will show over here. Of course, the key challenge will be to maintain the simulation fidelity to actually match the real-world complexity of the lab itself. So the key takeaway is that the Chemverse Academy demonstrates how VR can transform practical learning through safe, repeatable, and engaging equipments. So this is just like a sample video of what we did with Xiamen University. So the login process is standard. I'll just skip along the way. Then we have some tutorials to actually showcase how lecturers and students can actually operate the virtual lab, even back in the hostels or dormitories. So students with actually MetaQuest headsets can actually prepare before they come to the lab to try the real thing. We also really make the whole virtual design even more futuristic in nature. And the part of the AI comes in when, the things that we will get from lecturers or professors actually just raw data. And it's up to us to actually take all this raw data and implement various algorithms and also algorithms with AI to actually show what certain outputs will be after they ran through the whole experiment. So I'm just going to skip forward a little bit. Yes. So this is when through certain things that they react in the virtual world, we actually create all these kind of dashboards to actually showcase all of the different simulations and outputs that the chemistry students will actually have to then evaluate in real life per se. So yes, a lot of calculation, algorithm things going in, really using real simulated data to present, and thus running full-blown experiments back in their own hostels itself, thus breaking the limitations of constrained laboratory access in the school. Yep. So yeah, this is one of our recent progress with them. I think a lot of universities in Malaysia is also moving towards applying these kind of grants to do more VR-based simulations in their own college per se. So that's one of the sample when we actually use a full virtual reality to actually run simulated lab environments. Another one of the use cases that we have been developing will be with Malaysia's National Science Centre, where we actually did a mobile AI exhibit for them. So the Science and Innovation Ministry of Malaysia, through the National Science Centre, engaged Virtual Tech Frontier to create interactive AI learning experiences for school children. So key tech stacks is we still use a lot of like the game engines to actually gamify a lot of these processes. A lot of the game engines out there have also integrated a lot of AI workflows and backend LLMs into their model. So what really went well is that this will be actually the first mobile exhibit by a government ministry showcasing AI in schools and over the different states in Malaysia. And this thus delivered fun and interactive lessons on AI fundamentals for children. So the key challenges will be really to design a durable and sustainable solution that effectively teaches AI concepts to young students. As we know, in this kind of mobile exhibit, students tend to destroy lots of elements. So you want to make sure that, this is actually safe and people can actually learn from it. So the key takeaway is many understandings towards the fundamentals of AI is still not being grasped fully. They just think AI is just ChatGPT. So what other ways can we actually showcase young children out there that AI can be learned through different methods, right? So these are just some of the videos. So for example, in this first video over here, we actually did a vision learning model where we built this whole solution, including the software, and we fabricated the hardware. We actually inputted colored animals into a camera. So there's actually a webcam embedded inside the program where you take the animal, you put it inside the webcam, and then the solution will actually identify what color is it, what kind of animal is it, and it will actually give certain explanation of what actually went at the back. Like this is an AI vision recognition system, and students can actually see and understand, and oh, so this is how AI detects a pink elephant, for example, right? So this kind of interaction is what really bridges the first layer of interactivity between AI and also a student when it comes to vision and color recognition of objects and also size. So the next, so this second video over here is like a medical imaging tool that we are also using to simulate certain medical conditions based on X-ray patterns. So we again took image recognition algorithms from AI. We actually printed 5 different XA modules showcasing different diseases of human body parts per se. And once we implemented it into a machine again, we can have some sort of like image X-ray detection recognition to showcase to students, oh, this is like, you know, in this case, this is our lungs, and what can we observe in these lungs in this particular X-ray. So it then gives students another layer of awareness on how AI actually benefits and actually showcases certain materials that they might not understand if it's just a typical X-ray per se. So these are some of the things that we actually built about almost 10 of these kind of exhibits back in Malaysia. So the Science Center is touring over Malaysia in different schools and education centers right now, showcasing this series of AI educational fundamentals for students out there. Another use case that we are going to launch, I think by next month, is what we call a generative AI storybook for Enchanted Forest. So Monkey's Canopy, which is one of the newly launched 200-acre theme park based in Malaysia, Selangor, partnered with us to create an immersive center where families can explore the Malaysian forest ecosystem through mythical stories and virtual magic. So fundamentally, what we're educating the visitors is not only about the theme park per se, but we really want this whole place to be edutainment in nature. So when people come in, they understand a bit more about the Malaysian rainforest ecosystem and such through immersive technologies. So one of the key tech stacks, again, are using Unity game engine and also Comfy AI. So what went well is this will be one of Malaysia's first permanent immersive attractions, which Singapore has many, by the way. Malaysia is always slow to catch up and things like this. But this being one of the first, we will actually use AI gamified technology for families and also visitors. So this will also be the first time we'll do an AI storytelling solution that makes learning more engaging for children. So the key challenge will be really to train AI on the consistency in terms of output and also visual design, so that every time you generate something with AI, it will actually look very consistent. And the key takeaway is that AI, can really enrich learning through storytelling experiences beyond text-based interactions only. This is a sample of the storybook that were printed out after they go through the AI experience. So this is just a screenshot, a recorded video of what it will be. So when a user goes into a room, they will actually start to engage with the whole story of the theme park itself, right, which is called Enchanted Forest. And through this book itself, we will actually prompt them various prompts to get them to answer certain things based on their personalities, their names, their gender, what do they like, what light shines you the most as a typical attraction. And after they answer all these kind of like prompted questions from the beginning, the book will then take their answers into the solution and start to generate a series of images that is connected in a storybook format. So this storybook format will actually recap back their experience on what they actually did in Monkey's Canopy Enchanted Forest itself. And when it's generated, it will have a full storytelling module that comes at, oh, this is you, this is what you experienced, and this is what you have learned. Thus recapping the whole educational and learning experience through a storybook. So yeah, there'll be about 10 pages or so that we generate. And then they can click and print, and then they can actually generate a storybook to bring back home. So this is how we actually really infuse technology that is fun, interactable, and making it into a solid merchandise that they can continue to read again and again at home, thus really solidifying the end-to-end experience through the assistance of AI technology in a solution like this. So these are some of the key things that we're actually building in Malaysia. And I think if we're talking about the future of AI and education, we are moving towards building a national AI and metaverse exhibit, also back together working with the Science Center Malaysia, hopefully. So this is just some renders that we've developed before. When we see a lot of this happening in China, where they talk about technology, they talk about AI in deep, the birth of AI, you have these full-blown interactive, immersive ways to showcase all these kind of technologies. You talk about how AI actually listens to voices. You talk about how AI actually has certain vision recognition models, and you talk about how AI has a lot of these kind of very small interactive gamified features. Virtual humans, all these kind of AI aspects is really important because students out there we want students to, again, fundamentally know that AI is beyond just chat, right? You've got so many generative AI art, a lot of these kind of interactions that will hopefully expand the knowledge of these students and allowing them to understand the future of AI better through like an immersive exhibit like this. All right, so I've come to the last of my slide. So in summary, immersive learning driven by VR, AR, and the metaverse, transform education by making learning interactive, experiential, and hopefully scalable in this sense. So students no longer just learn about things, they learn by doing in a safe and simulated environment itself. Start small. My advice, start small, collaborate across many people, and also design with reflections of using all this kind of technology in place. So tomorrow's learning isn't just about information, it's about intelligence, adaptation, and inclusion. So if you want to talk with me more on this kind of immersive technologies and AI, this is my contact. Hopefully can connect with more people over here. Thank you.